Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, September 8th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of quick clarifications. First off, this candlestick right there that you see will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol AREB, and very active one. But as of right now, looking like a pretty ugly looking situation, but not totally game over, and as many of you longer time viewers have heard me say, there can be opportunity in the ugly, but you got to also acknowledge things the way they are. And yes, to think at one point the price was all the way up here, and to think that there were some people actually buying right there, and then to see the price just drop and drop and drop, looking pretty ugly. But like I said, there can still be some opportunity. And in my mind, the interesting dynamic here, which I should note, that's what a watch list is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, not rushing out and randomly buying stuff, but watching it. And what stands out to me as being very interesting is how you have the convergence of these two moving averages, purple line being the 50-period moving average, pink line being the 200-period moving average. And in my mind, if the price were to come down here, so get a little bit more ugly, I could very well see it bounce back up. Now, of course, that's not guaranteed. That's why risk management matters. So if the price does continue on down, well, then that's why you got to manage that risk. But to be fair, I mean, maybe it does bounce, and maybe it comes down there and gets a good solid bounce. And that's where a risk versus reward scenario could really come into play. So if you're not going to be disciplined, if you're not going to honor risk, then these are certainly not for you. But if you are going to be able to manage that risk and you like these sorts of scenarios, then like I said, you could be looking at a very interesting risk versus reward. Next one, AXLA, very nice pattern here. So let's just get this pattern in play. And as I draw this, please understand that, I'm not the only person to notice this pattern or anything like that. So I don't want to come across like this is some sort of great discovery on my part, or I have some sort of special talent, nothing like that at all. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns, and let me change that screen, but are watching the same patterns and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So to just keep this the same color, we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upwards move here. To make it a little bit more visual, let's put the golf hole down here. This would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So while there are no guarantees, is it plausible to think that if the price comes up here and breaks through that level, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So if you like penny stocks, you like bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one, AMD, and overall rough day today with the gap down, but from the big picture point of view, overall trend is still up. Although I will say the price has gotten down closer to what I would consider a very, very important level of support. Again, it's not quite there, but it's certainly well within the range, and that is right down there at the 104 mark. And the reason why let me squeeze this down so you can get a little bit more context. There we go. But the reason why I would call 104 very, very important, and I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down on that level and then break down below it, all of a sudden you now have the price having gone right back inside of this range that it's broken out of. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make really nice moves and then go right back to where they started, not exactly a sign of genuine power. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that is why, in my opinion, that 104 mark, very, very important level. In the event the price does try to bounce back upwards, main area of resistance going to be right there, that 50-period moving average, and that's just going to be a classic example of this former area of support, which you can see here, now potentially acting as resistance. In the very near term, as far as supports are concerned, if the price could stay above that pink line there, which again, now know is a 200-period moving average, that would be best case scenario. But if the price does fall below it, not the end of the world, because again, you still do have that 104 mark down there. Next one, PLTR, which, not to state the obvious, but I will anyways, made a very, very impressive bounce when you consider the opening 30 minutes. Look how nasty that candle was. Big red candle, and then all of a sudden, very impressive move in the upwards direction. But that does lead to the more than valid question of, okay, yeah, nice bounce, fair enough, but is there any sort of genuine power behind that move? And I have no idea, but by using charts, and specifically this area right here at 1465, we can make answering that question very straightforward. In fact, let me change that to support, because in my mind, price movement with genuine power is going to make progress forward. Now, nothing can go straight up, but it's at least going to make progress forward. So as we already talked about with AMD, if the price were to come down here and then break down below that level, what would that be doing to the price? That would all of a sudden be putting the price right back to where it was before this bounce started. Once again, price movements that make great bounces and then go right back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power. But on the flip side, the price comes down here because, like I said, nothing can go straight up, but comes down, behaves like that, and starts to curl upwards. Now, all of a sudden, what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows right here. you'd have that set of lows down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair-steps, well, hey, now you have stair-steps making progress in the upwards direction. And that's the name of the game. That's what a truly strong move is going to do. It's going to make progress. And again, in this situation, progress being defined as 1465. In terms of levels of resistance, main battleground to watch in the near term. Oh, it actually broke through that trend line. So that's a nice little sign in of itself. So that's good. So then next main overarching level of resistance is going to be right up there around the $15.40 mark. But overall, very nice day. Let's see if the price can start to show signs of progress. Next one here, AMC, cult stock, which I talked about yesterday. And now things are getting that much more interesting for a couple of reasons. First off, this trend line has been broken. And with the break of it, the prices at least now started to go sideways. Now, don't get me wrong, and I wish I could say trading was this easy, but just because the price has now started to go sideways with an upward slant to it does not mean for sure guaranteed this is the bottom and that for sure guaranteed this thing is going to bounce. My only point is that it now becomes a whole lot more plausible to think, okay, maybe, just maybe, this selling pressure here is done for now, and maybe, just maybe, this is going to lead to some sort of dead cat bounce, which from a trading standpoint can be very profitable. So like I said, if you find these sorts of scenarios interesting where you have a very popular cult stock, which has been beaten down, but now is starting to go sideways, and then it just kind of throw out the question, okay, is this some sort of leading indicator of a bottom before there's some sort of bounce? Then definitely keep an eye on it. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage. Now, one special note, it is a genuine live event, so a couple different scenarios. If you already have something on your schedule this evening, because that's when it will be, then go ahead, send me an email, or if you're watching this Friday morning and you just completely missed it, again, go ahead, send me an email. It will be recorded, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. All I ask is because it's genuinely live, it does first need to happen, then I got to get it uploaded. But after that, like I said, I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. But if you can make it live, then get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one, CGC. Talked about this yesterday, and the one note is that this line right here, unfortunately, was broken as support. But as I mentioned in yesterday's video, not the end of the world, because from an overarching standpoint, the price did still have that 50-period moving average, which you can see, I guess, got somewhat close to it right there. But point being is still above that level. So yes, in a very kind of high maintenance way, disappointing that the price broke through that level. But I'm going to go ahead and extend this out, because what we have here is a classic example, or it's looking like it could be a classic example of a former support now acting as resistance. I mean, isn't that crazy to think that the price broke below that level and now on the bounce up, never hit it exactly, but very close, just kind of cruising right around that area. So that'll be that first key initial level. I am going to get rid of it just because I don't want it to have too much clutter, because from the big picture point of view, the main overall area of resistance remains the same up there at the 83-cent mark. But just thought I'd throw that out there as kind of an interesting dynamic of charts and why they are such a very worthwhile tool. So I'll turn that into a quick plug. Get signed up for the free training. So 83 cents remains that key area of resistance. And then as far as key areas of resistance or support are concerned, like I said, that trend line was violated, but we still have that 50-period moving average. Next one, TSLA Tesla. And I think the one dynamic here that most people are going to be watching, and again, nothing fancy here, is just everybody, their brother's uncle, is going to be watching that 253 mark, because generally speaking, it has become a very well-known area of resistance. I mean, you can see right there, price rejected. Again, general area rejected. Today, immediately rejected, and the price is now just hovering right below that area. So it goes back to that whole idea of finding unique, finding interesting situations. And you got to think that a lot of people are saying, you know, it got the nice move up here. We have a little bit of a consolidation. So there's this bull flag happening right below a very key area of resistance, which brings about a very exciting question. Can the price break through? And if it does, is that going to be a signal that that's going to generate that much more buying pressure? So whether you like to play call options or just play the stock straight up, you got to think that a lot of people are going to be watching that dynamic. Again, nice little bull flag right below a key area of resistance. Does it break? Let's see what happens. Next one, AI, relatively popular stock out there, but got beat down quite a bit today. Opening 30 minutes after the gap down, a nasty red candle. But after that, the price has now started to creep its way upwards higher and higher. And again, does that mean that it's guaranteed to be a bottom? No, but this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have traded for a while. But if you have, I'm sure you've seen those stocks that gap down, and then after the gap down, it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. But that was not the case here. The price not only went sideways, but like I said, a slight little upward slope to it. guarantees nothing, but makes it plausible that maybe, just maybe, this is some sort of bottom here that's forming. So as far as areas of support are concerned, key level to watch moving forward, we'll call it that progress point. Again, same logic. You want to see prices start to make progress. And in this situation, I would call the progress point there at 26. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, main dynamic to watch here is going to be that resistance trend line right there. So keep an eye on that in the very near term. If there is a bigger breakout, then from more of a broader standpoint, keep an eye on those moving averages up there, the purple line and the pink line, again, 50 period moving average and 200 period moving average. But yeah, popular stock got beat down, but it's now starting to show maybe this is some sort of bottoming formation. So we'll see if it can get a bounce on Friday. Next one, NIO, not a good day at all. Not necessarily because it was red, but because it broke down below this area of support at $10.25 that I had mapped out earlier. So that's where the first update comes into play, which actually played out perfectly well. So when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And you can see that the opening 30 minutes, the price bounced. Try to get up through that level, but check it out. Former area of support, resistance, now rejected the price back down, which is now putting the price down in kind of this almost no man's land. You had this low from back here on the 29th. But overall, like I said, at least did start to go sideways. So you're getting that general idea of, okay, maybe just maybe some sort of bottom. But the low here, okay, nope, never mind. That's not as significant as what I thought it was. But we'll come down here because the near-term level of support at $9.92. And that's nothing fancy. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here now so you can see where these levels came from. But nothing fancy in terms of $9.92 other than the fact of that's just where the bleeding finally stopped today. But again, same general idea. I don't want to harp on it too long because you've already heard me say it. But gap down, NIO, another popular stock. Gap down, sideways action. Is at the bottom. Seems plausible, so keep an eye on it if you find these situations interesting. Next, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to head up, this one will also rise up. So let's, do a couple updates here because it's very popular ETF. A lot of people like it because it just allows you access at a much lower price point. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. And the first update is the one we just did. When levels of support are broken and closed below, say it with me, they tend to act as resistance. And you can see right here, again, the power of charts. Last 30 minutes, price came up here, and surprise, surprise, that's right where it's struggling. Now, that does not mean that the price can never get above the $40.58 mark, $40.60 mark, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is struggling at that area. If the price does push up through there, next key level you'll want to watch from a resistance standpoint is that 50-period moving average. Again, that purple line. In terms of areas of support, this is definitely where there is a bright spot. Price came down here and did a fantastic job of finding support at that pink line, the 200-period moving average, which is what you want to see happen. It would have been a much worse day, and the chart would look way, way worse had the price come down here and then just broken and kept dropping, but that did not happen. Now, from an overall standpoint, yes, this nice upwards channel here is good. But from a broader standpoint, what was happening before this? Well, you had this downwards move here, which is now actually giving me the ability to draw a bear flag pattern. Now, just because it's a bear pattern does not mean the price is going to go downwards. All I'm saying is that, yes, it was nice today with the upwards channel, but I wouldn't get overly excited about it until the price can break through a couple more areas of resistance. But all in all, like I said, if I were forced into summarizing this, I'd call it a bear flag pattern. So that wraps up the top 10 list here. And again, like I said, if you enjoyed what you saw and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency and manage risk, then get signed up for that class. It'll be here very soon, this evening, Thursday, September 7th at 7 p.m. Remember, Eastern time. But if you cannot make it live for whatever reason, like I said earlier, then go ahead, send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do a couple things for me. We've been doing fantastic recently with the comments. So leave a comment, even if you just say hi or a smiley face, tell me what you traded today, tell me your watch list, but a comment and hitting the like button really go a long way. They help out the videos, they help out the channel, and as long as you know you're enjoying, then I will continue to do this content for you. So hit that like button, leave a comment down below, go get signed up for that free class, or like I said, send me an email. Take care, thanks for watching.